Hello and welcome to my channel. I was given this Boba Fett figure a while back and asked if we could do anything with it. Well, that day has finally come and I have an idea. I'm going to create a whole new environment for him. But in order to do that, I first need to detach him from this base. He's well and truly glued down, so I need to cut him free. I have to be very careful doing this because I don't want to lose any fingers. After enough passes, I eventually slide through the glue and I repeat the same process on the other foot. And before too long, he's free. The soles of his feet will need tidying up a little bit, and this is purely so that he can stand up easier, so it doesn't need to be neat, it just needs to be flat. And the most effective method I found is to cut it the way you would peel a potato. And now I need to create some sort of base, so I dig out my box of PVC scrap board, and it's just a matter of trying to find the right pieces that can stack on top of each other and create the basic shape that I'm looking for. Then using a craft knife, I whittle them down and then dry fit the pieces together until it looks right. This is only going to be the base layer, it doesn't need to be too perfect, as I will be adding modelling compound on top of it and sculpting it into its final form. But for now, since I'm using PVC board, I'm going to use PVC glue and this will glue it all together. I'm making it a little bit of an enclosure, like the bottom of a hill. So Boba Fett will be stood at the bottom with the scenery surrounding him. I'm now ready to mix up the sculpture mould, half and half with water. I only have a short working time with this, so I need to crack on. So start by covering the base and roughly following the contours. And then I slowly build it up at the back and across the sides. As it starts to harden, I can neaten up the edges. So all I need to do now is wet my finger and I can smooth it out. And any remaining sculpture mould goes to fill in the gaps. There's no point wasting anything. And while it's still damp, I push Boba Fett into place. This way he will fit perfectly once it's set. And now I just need to leave it a day or so to solidify. So now we're going to turn my attention to Boba Fett himself. And he's going to have a mini makeover. All the areas which are supposed to be metal are actually grey. So I'll give them a once over with some silver paint. By using a very scrappy brush, I can create the chipping effect on his armour. His remaining colours are a little bit too bright and they need dulling down. So I'll give him an all over grey wash. And then I dab off any excess paint with a tissue. The trick is just to leave a small amount on there to make it look like dirt has built up. I also added on a brown wash below the knee and for the boots. And this represents mud. And after that I dry brush the whole thing with a light grey. This catches on all the edges to bring out the detail and also dull down the colour a little bit more. Next I'm going to use my satin varnish and gloss varnish. The satin varnish is basically a semi-gloss and I put that on all the metal areas, which is basically the helmet, armour pieces and weapon. And the gloss is reserved purely for the visor in the helmet. All these little adjustments should help add some realism to the figure and should hopefully blend into the background a little bit better. And speaking of the background, the base is almost dry. So using the sanding stick and the sponge, I can smooth down the edges. The sculpture mould hasn't quite hidden all the board, so I'll mix up some milliput and use it to blend them together. You could always mix up some more sculpture mould to do this, but milliput has much better control and a slower drying time. Once that's had a chance to set, we can move on to painting. I start off by covering the whole thing in burnt sienna. This will act as a base coat when I add further colours. I then speckle on some burnt umber, as I don't want a uniform colour. And then for the final step I dry brush on some yellow ochre. And all these should help to represent the different types of soil. I have a huge bag of foliage material. I'm going to use this as the basic layer of greenery. This stuff can be stretched and pulled to form different shapes. And I'm going to attach this by using PVA glue. So I only apply the glue when I'm going to stick down the foliage. This is a messy process, but it needs to be done. As I tear off each clump and push it into the glue. I'm laying this down in such a way that it's going to surround Boba Fett and hopefully make the scene look a bit more dramatic. And to help fix everything in place, I add on a few drops of fixer. And this is basically watered down PVA glue, which will help set everything hard. Next, I have these plant tufts. They look great, but they're only a single tone of green, so I'll give them a brown wash and let them dry, and hopefully they'll come across as more natural. And to stick these in place, I need to drill some holes. And this tiny model drill is perfect for that. Plus I also add in a drop of PVA glue for some extra grip. And the plant just pops straight in. It's just a matter of trying to place them randomly and replicate how they've grown with Mother Nature. I also scatter on some dry foliage, and this is held in place with the fixer, and it also creates another layer to help add to the believability. And now I'm going to make a little bit of mud with this UV resin. I just put a few drops of this along with some brown paint into a mixing cup, and once it's been well stirred, I use a cotton bud to apply it to the base. And this will also act as an adhesive which will help keep Boba Fett in place. So I spread it about on the lower areas, concentrating my efforts on where Boba Fett's feet are going to be. The shine of the resin will help make the ground look very damp for quite some time. And once I'm ready, I can put Boba Fett into place. Then I quickly dig out my UV torch and set him in place. You can also leave this out on the windowsill in the direct sun, but I find the torch much quicker. And finally, I add the leftover resin onto Boba Fett's boots. And this is for two reasons. Firstly, they will be muddy anyway, and secondly, it also helps hold them into place. So there we have it. We've successfully transformed this little toy into a diorama. And this way it helps bring the character to life, as you can see him actively hunting in a setting. This isn't the first figure I've transformed either. I've done something similar for the Alien franchise, and I'll leave a link to that video at the end. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, if I can do it, so can you.